Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to Outdoor Indoor Texan. Today I'm going to show you how to make venison pastrami. I've been meaning to film this one for a long time, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm not kidding when I say this might be my new favorite venison recipe, so let's get right to it. First up, we're going to build our brine for the venison. You'll need a stock pot or something similar that can fit in your refrigerator while also holding 1 gallon of water. Toss in 1 cup of kosher salt, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of pickling spices, and last but not least, 2 tablespoons of pink curing salt number 1, or it's also sometimes called Prague powder number 1. I'll leave a link in the comment section below where you can find the brand I use in this video if you're having any trouble finding it. Now, to ensure all that salt and sugar is dissolved, move your pot to a stovetop, bring it up to a simmer, and stir the brine for a few minutes until you're certain it's well combined. And before we move on to the next step, make sure your brine is completely cooled down to room temperature after taking it off the stove. We don't want any hint of heat left in that liquid. Once the brine has cooled down, it's time to add your venison. I'm working with 2 sirloin roasts from a small doe I shot last season, but really any muscle group will work fine. The brine we made can cure up to 3 pounds of venison, so make sure you're weighing your meat out and not exceeding that limit. You can use a roast and a backstrap, 2 roasts like me, really whatever combination works out to 3 pounds. As far as prep is concerned for the meat, remove any and all fat and try your best to get as much silver skin off as possible. Leaving some silver skin on here and there really won't ruin your day, but it looks a whole lot better without it. After adding the meat, use a heavy plate or some other food-safe object to keep it completely submerged. We don't want any part of the meat sticking out of the liquid. Now place the top on your pot or use saran wrap to cover, then let it cure and refrigerate for 5 whole days. That's right, 5 days. Okay, it's been 5 whole days, and now it's time to take our venison out of the brine. Once removed, make sure to wash it thoroughly under running water to take off any of the leftover brine bits. Using a paper towel, pat down your venison until the surface is pretty dry. Now, let it sit in the fridge for about an hour, giving it time to air dry even further, while you light up the smoker outside and we prep our rub. Using a spice grinder, coffee grinder, or in my case, a small janky food processor, add 2 tablespoons of black peppercorns and 2 tablespoons of coriander seed. Then grind it down not to a complete powder, but more so some powder, some cracked, and even leaving a few peppercorns whole. After that initial grind, add 1 tablespoon of garlic powder and 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. Mix it up and we're ready to use the rub. Give your venison a light coat of olive oil so there's something for the larger chunks to stick to, and then liberally apply that rub to the entire surface of your venison. This isn't a rub where we're looking to make a thick, crusty barbecue-style bark on the outside. It's much more about imparting another layer of flavor, this time to the outer surface. So use every bit and make it count. Once you're done adding the rub, insert a remote temperature probe so there's no guesswork while smoking, and let's head outside to get things started. I'm using my Pit Boss pellet smoker this go around, but you're welcome to use any barbecue setup you prefer, so long as it can smoke venison indirect and keep a temperature of 225 degrees Fahrenheit for hours at a time. This particular model has a built-in water pan that I filled to the top, so keep that in mind as well when setting up your smoker. Venison is lean, and although the brine will certainly help keep the meat moist, adding a water pan surely couldn't hurt. Smoke your venison until it hits an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit. These roasts took almost exactly 3 hours before hitting their target temp, and they look fantastic. Let the meat rest for at least 15 minutes, if not longer. This is a vital step a lot of people skip, and it makes a heck of a difference with the end result, so just be patient. And now it's time for the moment of truth. And will you just look at how perfect this pastrami turned out? It has that textbook cured pink color throughout, plenty of moisture, which is always a concern when smoking venison. It slices like a dream, even without a fancy commercial slicer. It pulls apart in my hands, but not so much that it's a mushy mess. This is just a slam dunk. I just really wish you could smell and taste this pastrami, because I'm not kidding when I said that this is probably my new favorite recipe for venison. It's ridiculously good. Head over to your freezer, dig out some venison roasts, and get to work on this right now. because if you haven't made this yet, you are missing out. That'll do it for this one, and thank you all so much for watching. I'm always happy to hear from my viewers, so feel free to leave any questions or feedback in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, it means the world to me, and you'll always have access to countless recipes with more content to come. All right, y'all, take care.